E-commerce stores need to protect themselves against cyber threats. These threats are on the rise and are becoming more sophisticated. Cyber criminals attack e-commerce sites in an effort to steal money and information. Knowing the security threats your e-commerce store faces is crucial to determining the appropriate protective measures. These are some of the most common e-commerce security threats. Number 1. Phishing. This type of attack earned its name because, like its homophone phishing, it uses bait. In a phishing attack, bait often appears as a compelling email. Attackers go to great lengths to ensure that their emails appear legitimate. Here's how it works. The victim will open the email and click on the link in the email, and it goes directly to the phishing website. Then, the attacker will then collect the victim's credentials and uses victim's information to access a legitimate website. Some online store will never send you an email with a link to update your store or your login credentials. If you receive an email, phone call, or text from the company in which personal information is requested, contact customer support directly for validation. Malware. Malware, short for malicious software, refers to any intrusive software developed by cybercriminals to steal data and damage or destroy computers and computer systems. Examples of common malware include viruses, worms, Trojan viruses, spyware, adware, and ransomware. Recent malware attacks have exfiltrated large amounts of data. The hackers attached digital credit card skimmers to payment pages across these sites. If you visit one of these e-commerce sites, the malware displays a fake pop-up window disguised as a payment page for a product you're interested in. Once you fill it out with your information, it gets sent right to the hackers and will record customer keystrokes. Once the data is intercepted, the skimmer displays an error message, and the customer is redirected to the actual payment page. SQL injection. A cloud database or database-backed site refers to a website that is backed by a database. Essentially, a database stores information digitally so that it can be accessed, retrieved, and distributed at a later time. This also gives businesses the ability to analyze and track information about the products, sales, and customers that have been input into the database. Here's how it works. First, the attacker crafts malicious input designed to exploit the web server and trick it into running a custom search of the SQL database. Then, the web server is tricked by the malicious query to run the attacker's custom SQL search, potentially returning important information. The SQL database receives what is perceived as a standard request and returns the information to the web server. The web server forwards the database entries containing information to the attacker. You may be at risk if your e-commerce site insecurely stores data in a SQL database. If not properly validated, a malicious query injected into a packaged payload can give the attacker access to view and even manipulate any information in a database. Cross-site scripting. Cross-site scripting involves inserting a piece of malicious code, typically JavaScript, into a web page. Unlike some other kinds of attacks, this one doesn't impact the site itself, but it would impact the customers, exposing them to malware, phishing attempts, and more. Here's how it works. The attacker discovers a website having a vulnerability that enables script injection. He will then inject website with malicious scripts that steals visitors' session cookies. For each visit to the website, the script is activated. Visitor's session cookies is sent to perpetrator. A successful cross-site scripting attack can have devastating consequences for an online business's reputation and its relationship with its clients. Depending on the severity of the attack, user accounts may be compromised, page content modified, misleading users into willingly surrendering their private data. Finally, session cookies could be revealed, enabling a perpetrator to impersonate valid users and abuse their private accounts. E-skimming. E-skimming refers to a method of stealing credit card information and personal data from payment card processing pages on e-commerce sites. Here's how it works. First, the merchant's web server provides HTML for the payment page. The compromised network will load a chat widget to the payment page. It then enables the perpetrator to see what the customer typed in real time. The information will then send the credit card information to the hacker's server, minimizing risks and cyber attacks. Keep an eye out for malicious activity. Inconsistent order data. The zip code and city entered don't match. Or the IP address of the shopper and their email address don't match. Larger than average order. The order is far larger than your customer typically spends. Unusual location. Your customer always purchases from an IP address in North America, but suddenly makes a purchase from an IP address in an unusual location in Asia, for example. Multiple shipping addresses. The buyer makes multiple purchases under one billing address, but ships the products to multiple addresses. Many transactions in a short time frame. The fraudster makes multiple purchases back to back. Multiple orders from many credit cards. Someone makes multiple purchases using multiple credit cards. Multiple declined transactions in a row. The purchaser makes not just 1 or 2 attempts. Honest shoppers make mistakes, after all, but 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or more attempts without getting the card number, expiry date, and card security code correct. Strings of orders from a new country. You've never received a single order from another country, and then you suddenly receive 11 orders from that country in the space of a week. There are several online services that can be ordered to perform regular backups of your website files and database. These services can usually be configured to run several times per day if required. Most online backup solutions will also securely upload your backups to the cloud, online storage. Another option is to compress your store files and download it in your device. An SSL or HTTPS certificate encrypts personal data before it is sent to an e-commerce website. Customers remain protected if both certificates are present. The hackers, even if they gain access to information, cannot do much with encrypted data. Secure your servers and admin dashboard. Most website owners don't realize how vulnerable admin panel can be. They can be hacked easily by password crack, password theft, changing a user account to an admin account, adding a new administrator directly into the website's database, limit access by an IP address to the admin panel, and creating a code word or setting a web server authorization. In this case, a hacker can't use any of the tools mentioned because a web server will not allow access to the admin panel scripts. Payment gateway security. Ensure PCI compliance. PCI compliant means that any company or organization that accepts, transmits, or stores the private data of cardholders is compliant with the various security measures outlined by the PCI Security Standard Council to ensure that the data is kept safe and private. Do not store transaction data. Set up system alerts for suspicious activity like multiple orders from same card or multiple similar orders by one person. Conduct a thorough audit for errors in business logic and payment manipulation. Installing anti-malware or virus software to detect and delete viruses can prevent file or software modification. This ensures the safety of data and personal information from threats like worms, viruses, and Trojan horses. Have periodic security audit. A website security audit is a process that assesses your web system, including core, extensions, themes, and other infrastructure for vulnerabilities and loopholes. A thorough web security audit typically involves static and dynamic code analysis, business logic error testing, configuration tests, etc. Have periodic security audit. A website security audit is a process that assesses your web system, including core, extensions, themes, and other infrastructure for vulnerabilities and loopholes. A thorough web security audit typically involves static and dynamic code analysis, business logic error testing, configuration tests, etc.